That was a weird little thing. Usually it never gives me a countdown to take the screenshot. I just press go live and it instantly uh, looks at the camera and we're off to the races. So that's cool. So this is 3 week update. Technically tomorrow will be 3 weeks, but yeah. So far, I've noticed the exact same things as it relates to my dreaming. I have started wearing my Galaxy Watch, which it's an older one. It doesn't track maybe as well as some of the newer ones, but it gives me an idea of what's happening. You know, it's better than nothing. So what I can say is that, yeah, I noticed that I'm getting more REM sleep. I haven't really looked at the charts too closely because I've only been tracking for, I'd say, roughly 4 days. Let's see. Well, no, I've been tracking for 7 days now. But it sucks because I don't like the way that they do their graphs. I have to figure out a way to like export it and actually make a spreadsheet so that I can have usable data instead of their little charts. They're kind of odd. They're not as helpful as they could be. So one of the other things that I've noticed is that I'm getting a little breakouts. I usually don't get any kind of acne unless I'm incredibly stressed. Everything's been normal. Everything's been very, very normal. I haven't really been stressed out about anything. Honestly, stress levels have been about a 2, 3, maybe. But have random little things popping up. So I decided that this would be a good chance to really double down on my skincare routine and start treating everything. So that's why I shaved my face completely clean, which hardly ever happens. But I figured that now would be a good time. Shave everything off, do a good hyaluronic acid and retinol on my face, as well as a little bit of derma rolling, because yeah, I want to make sure that I don't get crazy breakouts, which I'm not using a high dose of testosterone, but I do know that if you are prone to getting it, then it'll happen. And when I was younger, I did get quite a bit of acne, but it would be within where my beard was growing. So I had to always like really pay attention because they would be these really, these deep ones that just, I mean, people, guys with beards, like when you get one in your beard, it sucks because then it's a different kind of pain than what you get whenever it's like on your head, for example, like one up here. Like these suck, but these here, I don't know, they feel worse. So I figured I need to go ahead and start treating everything and keep up with that, because yeah, I'm not going to start getting crazy acne at my age. That would be a little ridiculous. Oh man. I've been exhausted though. Like last week, I know it's hard to tell whether or not a lot of this fatigue that I'm having now um, is really due to the heat, or if it's still just my body getting used to having that extra dose of testosterone. Um, and then, that spike of 100 and then going down to where it is. Sometime soon, I know that my levels are going to be tested again so that we see kind of where they're at, which is weird. I don't understand. Um, it seems like you would test your levels closer to a date that you are injecting. I don't know. I don't know when I have my. I have to call and check and figure out when my appointment is so that we can check my levels. One moment. Sorry, it was an order for 10 miles, $9, and it was 2 orders. Meaning that well, yeah, $4.50 a piece for 9 miles. No, can't do it. I can't drive around town. Like, gas costs money. If they were paying for my gas, that would be a totally different. If I was driving someone else's vehicle and they were paying for gas, absolutely, I would drive anywhere and everywhere. I would constantly be driving all day long. But unfortunately, as I'm responsible for the maintenance on this vehicle, I'm not driving 9 miles for $4. That's crazy. So yeah, the biggest thing, going back to health stuff, no crazy, no crazy acne. I do feel little tiny spots, which are not normal for me, but I don't want, I just want to make sure that I'm keeping it in check, keeping my hands off of my face, um, because, again, hormone changes, that's going to start affecting my face. I don't know how much so at 100 milligrams every other week, which is very low, but considering that my levels were low to begin with, I don't know. Um, no muscle soreness at all. I really think that the 27 gauge needles are kind of what I'm going to stick with. And what else? What else was there to discuss? Um, yeah, I think that's kind of it. It's hard to know what's changing so much. Um, because there's like a list of things that, you know, they say 4 to 6 weeks is whenever you should start noticing things. I have noticed that my thoughts are a little bit more compartmentalized so that I can focus on one thing and then move on to the next. Whereas before, I would have to, my mind could easily drift from one thing to another, and it would make it very difficult for me to focus, which is why a long time ago I thought that I had ADHD, because I could not focus on, it would be one or the other. It would be that I would jump from project to project, or I would be hyper focused on one thing to the point that I wouldn't know when to stop. Like, I could work on it like, it's hard to describe. Say I'm working on a painting or a model or anything, and I would start work on it, and be able to I wouldn't allow myself to stop until it was done. And some would say, yeah, that's a good work ethic. You're going to get things done. No, like, one moment again, and let's see if we got a decent order. Nope. Wingstop order. Y'all want food, but nobody wants to pay for the delivery man to bring it to you. And it's not the customer's fault. It's really the company's fault. They're not paying enough for these orders to go out. Like, I've said it once, I'll say it again. Delivery companies are making the customers subsidize costs. Like, they are making the customer pay extra so that Grubhub, Favor, Uber Eats, DoorDash, any one of these companies that deliver food. I'm not picking on one of them. Everyone is guilty of doing this. They are forcing the customer to pay a large tip in order for it to be worth the driver's time. Whereas the delivery companies are charging crazy amounts of monies, tacking all of these fees on top of what the customer is already paying for the food. In the end, that $7 burger is costing you $12, and you're like, well, I don't have any money to tip because I've already paid this fee. Well, it doesn't cost, well, I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole other rabbit hole that just, given a day of research, anyone will understand how much money these companies are actually making. To say that they're operating at a loss is not, there are some numbers that are being fudged, and the contractors are the ones that are getting screwed up over this whole thing. So, I do still lose track of, my short-term memory is still kind of not quite garbage, but it's bad. Like, could not tell you what I was talking about before that rant about low paying apps. Maybe this is why I need to have a little list of what I'm discussing so it keeps me on task. So, thinking, yeah, it's totally gone. So we've discussed the dreams, discussed the acne, we've discussed the ability to focus. I thought I had ADHD when I was a little younger. Um, and why I understand now that that could have just been partly due to my T levels being incredibly low and my brain being really foggy. Speaking of which, the brain fog is not lifted, but it's substantially better than what it has been in the past, where I can focus a little bit better, a little bit. Obviously, I'm still losing track. If I get sidetracked, my brain is completely, the odds of me coming right back to that are slim to none. Um, but focusing better and being able to explain things about like the small kind of minutia of what's happening, or yeah, like it just, it's easier for my brain to wrap around things and to explain it a little better, which is terrible because I'm having a hard time explaining what's going on. It's because it's new. Like this is all, this veil that I've been kind of experiencing is slowly lifting, and it's not. Um, I guess it would be different if it was like the curtain completely lifts and everything is bright and sunny and things have changed overnight. But that's not the case. I mean, it's a slow process. So the little things that are changing, I really won't notice until until really there's no they say 4 to 6 weeks, but um, that's not necessarily the case with everyone, considering that everyone starts out at a different level and everyone's taking a different dose. Like, yes, there is a standard dose of about 200. Um, what is it? About 200 milligrams. See, that's the problem. Like, I can't even thinking back to everything that I've seen people taking 200 milligrams every week. I've seen people taking 200 milligrams every other week. You know, people break it down into, taking, uh, 50 milligrams every, um, 3 to 4 days. Like, there's so many different ways that you can do this, and there are different schools of thought that, you want to keep it, ideally you want to keep it so that when you are injecting, you're kind of keeping it along the same rhythm of what your body naturally produces, which is kind of impossible unless you're doing injections every single day. Um, because if you're doing like once a week 100 milligrams, you're taking which would, to the body, would be considered a big giant dose, and then it's gonna taper off within four, 3 to 4 days, and then they would inject again, so that by when your body is almost absorbed all of it, you're injecting again, so you're putting more into your system, so you're constantly keeping it up there. um, I don't know. I don't know what the proper way to do it is, because I'm not a doctor and I'm not really experimenting with anything like that until, I don't want to say experimenting too, because it's not like, I mean, there are many, I guess it would be experimenting on for what is the best protocol for me. So I would like to keep it closer to my natural kind of, not even natural, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I don't want to bombard my system like so hard and then it's waning off and then bam, hit it again. Like, that seems really abrupt, and I feel like that's going to cause more of a crash towards the end of, like, in that 3 to 4 day range. That's why I'm trying to document how my body feels, kind of day by day, so that I can report back and say, hey, this is really kind of, this is how I'm feeling, whatever. So I don't know. Because I do notice, obviously, like, I do notice that there are some changes happening. So at some point, I'm going to start feeling the effects of this. I would think that I would notice a hormone fluctuation, like when I'm injecting it. Not instantly, obviously, because that's not how it works, but at some point I should be able to tell how my body's processing it and be more used to that feeling. Because obviously I've noticed that after injection, my dreams are much more vivid. So there should be some other indicators along with it that are going to help me notice that. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Minor kind of changes right now, but they are changing. Things are getting better slowly but surely. I'm glad that I'm on it now, and that I didn't have to wait too long, because I've got a lot of other stuff happening. Possibly gonna start going and hitting the gym again now that I'm feeling a little less exhausted. The only problem is, if I start hitting the gym now, August 28th, I'm going to be out. I can do it up until that point, because then I have surgery on my left eye. I have the evisceration surgery. That will put me out of commission for, I don't know. I don't know how long it'll be. Obviously, I won't be able to lift weights, but I don't know how long. And I guess I would be able to do cardio. I'll have to find out exactly what all I'll be able to do. So, because I'm feeling better in general, and if I'm feeling better now, then I shouldn't have any problem kind of getting back to where I was. Obviously, it's going to take a lot of time. I was working on a whole different set of, like, my routine had changed. I'd seen how far I'd gotten, because I was hitting the gym every day, lifting weights, doing cardio. Like, now, obviously, I'm gonna have to get down to doing 5 days a week and taking some days off, because maybe a little hard on my body. But I was harder on my body then because I was trying to get sleep. I was convinced that was the problem with my system, is that I just wasn't exhausting myself, and nothing was happening because I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't gaining a significant, one moment. $4 Taco Bell order. It's going to take me longer to drive there than no, not worth it. But I was convinced that I wasn't gaining any muscle because I wasn't doing enough. So I was doing more and more and more and more, and well, no results. Literally was gaining fat around my midsection while working out. And I mean, I wasn't lifting crazy, what I would consider to be like crazy amounts of weights, but looking back at what I was doing, like, it wasn't a small little workout. Like, I was putting in the work. I was making sure that my protein intake was like more than enough. Like, everything, I'm convinced that when I do start going to the gym now, that I'm gonna, like, changes are gonna happen. Like, I'm not doing, the fact of the matter was that, like, I wasn't focused purely on the aesthetic results of working out. Yes, that is one of the reasons why we work out. But I'm working out and I'm not feeling better. Like, it's not making my body feel better. I'm feeling almost worse. Doing cardio and all of this stuff is supposed to make, like, to be healthier, we work out. And I'm working out and I'm feeling worse. So it's like, man, like, it's kind of it makes you feel like you're going crazy because you're told you're supposed to go and work out to feel better, and I'm not. And I'm adjusting my routine to try to get myself to feel better, and it wasn't happening. So the only thing that I'm going to really adjust is obviously going to be the amount of weight that I was lifting, because I'm not going to be able, I haven't been in 3 months. So I'll have to adjust the weight that I was using and kind of not start all over again, but for the most part, like, get used to my routine, because the only thing that was pushing me through all of those workouts was willpower. I didn't have muscle that was pushing me through it. I was basically just abusing my body to push myself through it and not gaining any kind of muscle from it, not getting any kind of real results, just pushing myself as hard as I could push myself. And that's willpower can only get you so far. Like, if you do anything for a year and you don't see significant results, you're going to get frustrated. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Like, luckily my health, like, basically had a reset and said, hey, you have to stop. Like, you have to stop and take care of your health now. Figure out what this is, or you can't keep going. So it sucks that I had to stop for 3 months, because my body is going to be really confused when I go back. That's what I'm worried about. But hopefully, with this little bit of added testosterone in my system, the fact that I'm sleeping a little better, by the time I do get to the gym, things will be so much different. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm sure I've got enough to edit down later. I know it was very rambly, but I can still, again, edit it down. And it's just my personal journey. So until next time, that's that.